Welcome back to the Limits Movie Podcast, where I get to talk about movies with my good pals. So today I got my friend Austin on here.
All right, yeah,
Now, the thing you need to know
that's
about
me.
Austin is he is a nerd. So he decided to pick a Western from the 60s as his movies, three
Oh,
of them.
yeah, three of them.
So
That's
we're gonna do three episodes in a row on this trilogy of, I think the Dollars trilogy is what they
yeah,
usually call it.
I believe that's what they call it.
Fistful of Dollars, For a Few Dollars More, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yep, that is the three movies that we will be discussing in these
So
episodes.
we'll get to the other ones eventually, but what is your history with the first one, A Fistful of Dollars?
Well, I
Actually,
guess,
what order did you watch them in? That's
I guess I started with the last one that was released, which was The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I believe it's the best one out of the three. But gradually, I saw the other two after I watched that one. So I guess my experience with the first one, it was a good movie. It was very similar in like the directing style to the other two. Obviously, it was the first one released. So
yeah. I never watched this one and the next one for a few dollars more until this podcast when you told me to do these. So I didn't know that much going in, other than that it is a remake of a 1961 film by Kurosawa called Yojimbo, which I have seen, which means I knew it was going to happen in the movie,
yeah,
because they're basically the same story,
yeah,
beat for beat. Just
um,
one is a samurai film and one is a western.
yeah. I mean, obviously, yeah. So you get the spaghetti western like directing style. I don't know. I haven't seen the other movies, so I don't know how the directing style compares. But I do think that Sergio Leone does a good job in all three movies, especially this one included. Um, yeah, obviously.
Clint Eastwood, this might be his first big role.
Yeah, he was in Rawhide, which was a TV series Western.
Okay.
So he uses the same hat and vest throughout the movies that he did in Rawhide, but um,
So that's like where he gets the look that he has in these movies.
yeah,
That whole
I know. I don't know if the poncho came from Rawhide, but I know his vest did, and so did his hat. But I think so. Obviously, all three of these movies were released in the '60s.
64 for the first one.
Yep, and then was it like I don't know, for
65 and 66.
yeah,
Something we have not talked about yet. Ennio Morricone for the music.
music. Yeah, that is I think is a very like pivotal part of all three of these movies is the soundtrack in all of them because um Ennio Morricone does a very good job in all three of these movies, creating the atmosphere and really just like bringing something more to the movies than like so obviously Sergio Leone does a very good job directing, but Ennio Morricone does an even better job making the movie
It's kind
really.
of like that dual. It's those two and then Clint Eastwood that kind of forms this trilogy and
Yeah,
turns it into what it
it's like
is.
a trio that makes these movies great. And obviously the other actors that like appear throughout them, I think do a very good job.
Yeah, everyone's doing a pretty good job acting here.
I would give commencement to Eli Wallach and The Good, the Bad, and
We'll
the
get
Ugly.
to that, okay? We
We'll
got
get
more
there.
episodes. We probably have more to say about the good, bad, and ugly than this one when we get there.
That's true. We
But
yeah
so we haven't even talked about the core story of this movie
yeah.
yet. If you
So
haven't seen this or Yojimbo, the story is like this.
two dueling families, I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah, in a town, there's two dueling families, and then Clint Eastwood's character, I don't remember his name off the top of
Well,
my head.
that's one part that throughout all three of these movies is that his character is never really named. Like the three stories aren't linked really at all, but the character kind of is the same. It's like the same person in all three of
He's
them,
kind of he
and he
doesn't have
never
much of a character in any of them.
yeah, and he's never named. That's one of the things. So,
I know that he has like a nickname as Blondie in the third one, but I don't.
but that's not his name. That's the
Yeah.
thing.
So yeah, basically he just comes in and just shows up and starts acting cool
Yep,
in front of the
pretty much,
towns.
pretty much.
Kind of picks a side and then goes with it. But
Yeah,
he keeps swapping for the part of the film.
yeah. He switches sides, and like interacts with each of the different families, and you learn. like a little bit more about them, but can't really remember why they were fighting. But I think it's just like family conflict over
They don't like each
generate.
other.
Yeah, there's just family conflict over generations, which yeah,
And like at the beginning, kind of what we were going off of, there's like this really cool scene of them introducing Clint Eastwood where like some people are in a town and he shoots them all.
yeah,
It's like
that's
you got to
just
introduce the
standard
Western stuff.
Western fashion. But I believe you're talking about the scene with the mule.
I think so, yeah. I don't.
His quote, "I don't like people laughing
Yeah,
at my quote."
that's what I'm talking about.
Something like that. It was that was a very good scene. I do have to say that. I think like the way that Sergio Leone is his style, which I think we'll point out a lot more in all three of these episodes, is the eyes. What he does with the characters' eyes,
Yeah.
like, and throughout each one of these scenes, the eyes of the character, because the characters in these movies don't do a lot of talking.
And a lot of the fight scenes are obviously because they're westerns. It's just them looking at each other. So
Yeah.
you get like eye shots, gunshots, and then
Yep. Yeah. That's about it. It's
although one thing I did notice about this, and this happens in Yojimbo as well, if I have to keep bringing that up, is the main character, he isn't just winning the whole time. He gets beaten down
yeah.
really badly.
Yeah. He gets captured by like whatever
Yeah,
family
like
he
two
doesn't
thirds of the
like,
way in the movie, he gets
and they
beaten. He is not doing good at
yeah,
all.
he gets beat to a pulp, and he's like basically about to die. I think that happens in all three movies. Is that the point of where he's basically about to die
Yeah,
throughout different things. I guess for the first one, for a fistful of dollars, is you have the length is it's a not too long of a movie in comparison to the other one. It's only an hour and a half.
yeah, an hour and 39 minutes, I want to say it was when I
Yeah,
looked at it. Honestly, here's the weird thing, and I think it might have felt the longest out of them weirdly for me. Which I don't know if that's a
I could
hot
see
take,
that. I could see that.
but I definitely felt that hour and a half. It didn't feel like it just
Well, I
went
hate to
by
tell you,
for me.
this is the worst one out of three.
We'll
So
get to this is the worst one out of the three. That's for sure.
we're talking about all the like directing and all this stuff. It's the worst one out of three. But
It's not a bad movie, but it is the worst out of three. You are right.
yeah.
There is a cool part at the end where he puts on like a bulletproof vest
Oh
though,
yeah, that is kind of cool.
because the funny
It's
thing,
like a big metal
and
plate and it just walks at him.
I feel like this is something that Fistful of Dollars gets wrong about Yojimbo, and one of the reasons I think Yojimbo is a much better movie is the whole conflict of Yojimbo is that one of the sides is cheating in the fight because they have a gun. But in Fistful of Dollars, everyone has a gun, so it completely misses that kind of
Like one side being wrong or more
yeah,
wrong
one
than
side
the other.
decides to start having using guns and stuff, and that's a problem. But for this movie, everyone, because
Well, it's a western, so you
yeah,
have to.
it kind of ruins that little bit of it though because of the natural idea of the movie for me.
Yeah,
So yeah, Fistful of Dollars.
it's a pretty good movie. Um,
If you had to give this a score from 1 to 10,
I give it a 7.
7.
There's room for improvement. It's a good movie, but it's not as engaging as the other ones. The story
Yeah,
doesn't, I would say, doesn't make as much sense. Um, and I feel like the stakes aren't there in the movie as much
that
in
is.
comparison to the other two, because the other two set the stakes and like set the arc of the stories very well.
Look, all I'm saying, guys, watch Yojimbo instead. 6 out of 10.
Yeah,
That's what I was gonna go with. So I guess we're kind of on like the same boat here.
yeah, because there's always room for improvement with all these movies, but
And
I'd say
I'm sure that he gets better as well with his later movies. You've seen Once Upon a Time in the West and stuff, and I'm sure those are also better. This
those
is
are
kind of
better.
just Sergio Leone's introduction to making a Western. He did make a movie before this that wasn't a Western. I don't remember off the top of my head what it's called.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But yeah, maybe I can tell you guys in the next episode. But for now, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I
I will.
especially hope you enjoyed because you're gonna have to hear us talk about westerns for 2 more weeks. Goodbye.